I'm Brigantia Blackbird, Blackbird's Brew. Happy Thursday and welcome to the Pagan Housewife. Let's talk about raising pagans. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, you are probably aware that I do not have children. Consequently, anyone watching is more than justified to arch an eyebrow in my general direction for even presuming to speak on the subject of child rearing, and quite rightly too. I don't have much in the way of experience when it comes to the proper nurturing, guidance, and upbringing of children, so what could I possibly know? The answer is not much. So it is in a spirit of extreme humility that I will lay out the case in favor of pagan parents raising their children in a pagan way. And if any parent watching this wants to throw tomatoes at me after this video, well, you have every right to do so, and I will take it. So, on that note, let's begin. We know from our studies in the pre-Christian era, pagan parents, they raised their children in accordance with the customs of the time in their area, just as a matter of course. It's what was normal. It was just the way that things were done. And this was necessary not just for spiritual instruction, but just to equip the children for life in that tribal structure and for being part of a larger people. Now today, we live in a world in which Christianity has had 2,000 years to leave its mark. We have any modern customs, secular or otherwise, being rapidly replaced on the whims of people with very dubious intentions. And paganism itself has had less than 100 years being fully out of the broom closet. So it's a lot of hard work just for adults to explore their spirituality, to wrestle with these ideas, make decisions on how to apply them. And the further step of exposing children to paganism and raising them by walking in that path, that is a considerable challenge. And I don't think that should be understated. And I think those who have taken that on should be given full respect for it. Because instead of, this pagan heritage and this background being the normal cultural heritage of the society to which they belong, a child that is raised pagan, that sets them apart, which is another reason why it's becoming so important for pagans to make very serious efforts to form communities, especially in-person communities. We have got to take that example from our ancestors and really make an effort to apply it in our lives now, because the desire to belong is powerful. And if your children are going to appreciate the benefits of pagan spirituality and culture, then they will need it to provide for them a sense of belonging. And hopefully, if you're successful doing that for them, then in turn, when they have children of their own in due course, they will be able to pass that along as well. And the importance of human relationships is foundational in paganism. The way our ancestors lived, it was clear that their faith was a part of them. It wasn't a veneer or something they brought up for special occasions. It was just an expression of everyday life. It was how you lived your life. And that life was centered on, the important people around you, your family, your spouse, your children. It was all about that. And if the pagan revival is going to stand the test of time, then we need to emulate that example. And of course, it's no secret that the world has collectively lost its mind, has no idea where its meds went, and probably wouldn't take them even if they did know. But this kind of chaos isn't enlivening. It is destructive. It wears down the soul. And a need for something solid and comforting and predictable and true and enduring, that is becoming much stronger in people's hearts. And you couldn't ask for a firmer foundation in life than a pagan worldview, because pagan faiths are nature-based. There's an understanding of how all of existence is subordinate and operates within natural law. Therefore, spiritual practices, everyday life, even how society is structured and governed, it must conform to that natural law to be successful. The further away it gets from that, the more dysfunctional it becomes. And raising children with that mindset, it helps them separate good ideas from the bad. And it teaches them to use observable reality as a measuring stick rather than the ideological decrees of the day. Pagan spirituality is also useful to teach children about the natural ups and downs in life, that these things are not to be feared, they're just part of what is. And the task of a human being is learning how to adapt to both circumstances. And this can provide hope in the most difficult of times, because sooner or later, the wheel will turn again and the difficulties will stop. And this also provides motivation to work hard, to create, to build, because again, when that wheel turns, we can reap the rewards of all of that. Raising children in a pagan way helps them appreciate how all things are interconnected, and that in turn affects how they treat people, animals, even objects. No one and nothing is ever truly alone, and all actions have effects. Cultivating a respect for that reality is, beneficial for everyone, but it's very helpful for children. Another benefit is that pagan spirituality has a way of turning individuals into critical thinkers. We don't just accept an idea. We don't believe it because someone said so. We thoroughly examine it. We put it to the test, and we're not afraid to ask questions. The human capacity for thought is part of what distinguishes our species from that of animals. And that ability can make all the difference in your life. And a critical thinker has agency and assumes responsibility for their choices. They are the ones charting their course. And they're far less likely to go along just to get along because the crowd is going in a particular direction. And that is a massively important life lesson for children. Paganism also allows children to connect to their roots on a profoundly deep level. The gods of our pantheons, they are the progenitors of the peoples, of us, everyone who built their cultures around them. And therefore, those gods are, in a very meaningful way, possibly even a literal way, part of the child's ancestral line. Therefore, there is a familial relationship there. And that relationship can help children understand who they are and have a bit more context for the twists and the turns in their family stories. And that becomes the background against which children eventually shape their own lives. Because without roots, we're all just cut flowers. We might bloom brightly for a day, but we will fade. But if we and our children are planted in the rich soil of the past, we can flourish. So that's my argument, and that's what I have to say. And any parents who would like to throw tomatoes at me, please feel free to do so in the comments section. If you have nice things to say, please also leave that in the comment section. Or if you want to have a more involved discussion, please don't be bashful. We have a group on Gilded. It's called Blackbird's Brew. There's a link to join us in the description box. It's absolutely free of charge. And we welcome conversation. Just come in, start saying what's on your mind, and you'll probably find someone who's willing to explore a few ideas with you. But that will do it for this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.